Hi everybody, welcome back to Jenkins Boat Works. I am Chuck Jenkins. This is the second part in installing the centerboard, and this has proved to be a little more challenging than I would have originally imagined. But I think I've had some good ideas along the way, and so in the last episode, or part one, we got the board to fit up in the trunk. Now we're pulling the board back out and trying to make sure that the hole that we have going through the centerboard isn't going to wear too much and will be sealed so that water can't get inside the plywood. The centerboard is here, and we've got a little bit of epoxy on it, but anyway, glad you're back. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And anyway, let's jump in and see how we work on getting this centerboard ready to put back in permanently. So I'm going to try to drill the hole in the centerboard. And we've already drilled the hole in the lead here. This diagram shows this is the outline of the centerboard here, that dotted line, and then next to it here is the oak post that's the part of the centerboard trunk. Same thing back over here. So we measure this distance from the dotted line over to the edge of the trunk. Similarly, this dotted line over to here. So what we see when we do that is it's almost exactly 1/16. Back here, it's about 3/32. So we know that the scale of this is 1/8 inch equals an inch in the real size of the boat. So if it's a 1/16, there should be a 1/2 inch of clearance here at the front, and 3/32 would be about 3/4 of an inch here. So when we go over to the boat, so without climbing in there, I think I've got a solid inch in the front in between the board and the front of the trunk, and at least that much in the back. So I at least feel like the board is centered in the trunk, fore and aft. And so my next thought is, we had made a mark on the centerboard where we thought the hole should be roughly. There was a little X on there. I'm going to take my marker and just come down here on both sides of this, a black magic marker, go through there and just put a dot on the centerboard, and we'll pull it out and look at it. Okay, so I've marked this in this hole with the black marker on the board and on both sides. So now what I'm trying to do is lower this board down just enough so I can see where my mark is on here and see if we can measure it and see if it looks like it's about where it should be, so that the trunk will be able to swing down the way it's supposed to inside the hole. I feel pretty confident that it is, but we can take some measurements and just double check. Now this gets a little tricky right here because this board's heavy, and once I pull this thing out of here, it's going to want to fall. Okay, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so here's the black mark that I made on the board, and we know that this hole was supposed to be 3 inches up from here, but when we measured it, we were really only 2 7/8 to the center here. We hit it pretty much from the inside of the trunk, which I'm feeling with my finger right there. You can't see it, but it comes to about here. So if you come up, we were about 4 inches back like we were supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this board out of here and see if we are basically at least 2 7/8 up from there and at least 4 inches back. I think it's going to be real close. So at this point, I've made 3 marks on the board. The little black magic marker, then the circle up straight above it, and then a darkened circle. I had to really work to get the bottom edge of the board up flush with the bottom of the lead. And it just took some doing to get it to hold up in there where I needed it. I am fairly well convinced that my darkened end circle is where we need to drill the hole. And at some point you just got to drill it and say, okay, trust what you've done and that's going to work. In an absolute worst case scenario, it's wrong. I fill the hole full of thickened epoxy and let it set up and then remeasure and drill again. But I think that's going to work. We shall see. It's one of those moments where I'm a little apprehensive about doing this. I've got a 5/8 spade bit on here, which should be the exact, yeah, that's how big that is. I'm going to go with this mark that I fully closed in, because I'm pretty sure that's where we're supposed to be. It feels like it's fairly equidistant from here and from here and from the corner. And I like that because it should pivot and it's going to have to swing. So I think right in the middle of that should be right where we should be. So we're just going to go ahead and do that and say a little prayer. At a point, I'm going to do it from the other side. Once I feel this point has drilled through, I'm going to drill it from the other side so that they don't tear out the board. But quite honestly, there's still some fiberglass and epoxy on here, so I don't think it should tear it out anyway. But I don't want to run that risk. Okay, I can feel it on the other side. Pretty clean, pretty clean. I thought about over drilling it and making it bigger, but I don't really want to do that just yet because I just want to make sure that it hangs in there right. So first thing is let's make sure that the hole's big enough for the bolt to go through. And it is. So far so good. This will be a milestone if I can get that to hang in there. All right, I'm gonna have to go up inside, lift the board up, and then we'll try to put that pin in there. We're nowhere near being ready to do it. I'm gonna have to go ahead and refiberglass all this. I had to plane a whole bunch of this down to get it to fit in the slot because the board had warped. I think when I poured this lead in here that I warped the plywood. But that was pretty much all day Saturday, sanding down through here and get the board so it's flat enough that it'll go up in there. All right, more a little bit. Lift this dude up. Okay, that one's pretty easy. Quite the little contraption in there. Okay, I can kind of see through there. It's forward just a little bit, but I think I should be able to push it back. pin's all the way through there. Okay, so the pin's through. And the board's up in there. It's not sticking down past the bottom of the lead, so that's good. We're gonna go look at how I've got it held up. Little pieces of threaded rod, and I got little screw hooks on the top of the board right now. And I had to get that up almost as high as I could. Got some little shims of wood holding that dude up as high as I can get it in the trunk. See, that's right up to the top. Fits in there good. All right, now I'm going to release these and see if it'll swing. It swings on its pin. Put a little cushion down there so it wouldn't drop down any further than that. My friend Shep that built a Haven and got it in the water this year, he said that he lets his board down about a foot, or at least a foot. I'll measure and see. I'll have to go and look, see what the draft numbers are, board up and board down, then I'll know how far down it's supposed to go. But wow, that's awesome. Okay, well there you can see it right there. Okay, it says draft, board up 1'6", board down 3'4". So that tells me it's about a 22-inch difference. Is that right? 1.5 to 3.5 would be 2 feet. So yeah, about 22 inches. Clearly the board could go down that far. It doesn't really show you on this picture. It's just kind of got it cut off down there. I'm sure it's going to change the center of effort. So depending on what point of sail you're on, I don't know, probably wouldn't jack with it. Board's either up or it's down. Wow, this is awesome. Got a little package in the mail from Amazon, and boy, that was fast. I just ordered it yesterday. Lawnmower parts, wheel bushings, 5/8 interior diameter. See, there's my bushing to go inside the centerboard trunk. And if I've ordered this right, and it's what I think it is, I should be able to run our Ron's bolt right through that. I'm going to fiberglass that into the board. Let's hope it fits. All right, so I've got the centerboard pulled out. And maybe you can see on here how much sanding and planing I had to do to get the warp out of it. But it's all good. It slides up in the slot really nice. We got the bolt out, and this is a 5/8 bronze bolt, and so it fits in this hole good, right? But I don't want to wear on this wood, and I also don't want water getting inside this plywood either. So I thought about just over drilling it much bigger, say an inch, 1.16", something like that, and filling it full of thickened epoxy, and then drilling it back down to 5/8. And that would probably work, but for $4.99, I got these wheel bushings for a lawnmower that are these dudes. Whoa. And there's 2 of them. I thought, well, I only need one, and I could get away with one, but since they got these little flanges on the outside, see, look how they fit on here. Just perfect. We wouldn't have any binding up. It spins real good on there. They fit just great. And then it tells me here on this, inside diameter 5/8, outside diameter 13/16. So what I think I'm going to do is put a dowel back in here that'll fill up this hole, take my 13/16 spade bit, over drill this, mix up epoxy, cut these dudes down. Slippery little buggers. Cut these dudes down to where they're an inch. So cut off, good grief. Cut these off so that they're 1 inch together, which is the width of the board, and then glue those in there with the thickened epoxy, taking great care not to get it in the hole. Now, where'd that other one go? I think that's what we're going to do, and it should just ride on those, should never really wear. I think it'll be great. Where'd that thing go? Cut off our dowel rod, put that dude in there. It's a little loose. I'm going to tape this on the back side of it so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay. Yeah, that's going to fit in there. We're going to clean that out just a little bit. But yeah, that's going to work. Those are going to fit in there.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
So when we go over to the boat, and I appear to have more clearance than what the plan says I should have. Whoa. Can't walk and take video at the same time.